By appointment schedule. 7 children, 5 that, and then we had a little impromptu pizza party at Papagino's. We had the area roped off. Caution: this is the party zone for just us kids, and yeah. So we did that. It was a great time. I'm very, very tired. Those kids have
They
super
are
high
they
energy.
first of all, Monster Mini Golf is crazy.
Yes.
Because it seems a lot easier than what it is. And I've never seen such poor form. It was poor form, piss poor. I mean, even if you tried to teach them, they
What
wouldn't.
is miniature monster?
Was it their first time?
Yes, for the most part, it was their first time.
So it's a glow in the dark indoor mini golf place. They give you like glow in the dark balls, you have glow in the dark sticks or whatever, and it's all like black with black lights.
Is this
and
in Dedham?
In Westwood, yeah. Norwood? Westwood?
It seemed a lot further. Is there one closer?
No.
There's a yellow signed one.
That's the one with the yellow sign.
I know there's one in Dedham. I know, well, on that strip, was that Route what? Something, I don't know. 120 something, I don't know.
Route 1?
One, yes.
One. Yeah, so no, there wasn't one closer. I don't know that. So when we took the directions that I got wasn't on Waze, it was on Google, and I don't know, Google took us all around. But anyways, we had a really, really good time. Janet was there with her kids. Janet had to reel the kids in a couple of times. We were taking notes on how Janet reeled in the kids, because I'm going to have to try that.
She's got a good mom voice.
She does. Like, it was very authoritative, and the children responded very quickly to that voice. But it was just a really, really, really good time. Noah had a really great time. He was really excited to be out there with all his friends. And went home and crashed because I was tired.
Yeah, after that, I think between the rain and, the high energy and good pizza.
And that
Papagino's has really great pizza.
They do. That rain yesterday was torrential downpour.
Oh, absolutely.
It was like, what is happening here?
The flooding in the streets.
The flooding. We had to walk. We had to like swim into my building, which was crazy. The same with ADSL when I went to pick up the kids. There was so much flooding in the streets that I had to I stepped into a puddle that literally went up to my ankles. And I'm short, but my ankles are still where everybody else's is. So don't even say anything. Don't make no notes.
I don't
no
think
jokes
so.
about that. And so yeah, it was a great day.
As long as we don't get 2 months of rain in 48 hours, I'm all right.
I know, but did you see that? That's what happened the other day, last Friday. We got 2 inches of rain in like 90 minutes, which is a lot. Fenway Park was like flooded.
Oh, no. Did you hear what I said?
What?
I forgot where it was. They had, in 48 hours, 2 months.
2 months worth of rain.
In 48 hours.
48 hours. Well, 48 hours is a long time. That's 2 days.
That's 2 days. 2 months of rain.
That's
my question is, and maybe we'll get into this later, is like, what is going on with the streets of Boston where that they're flooding so quickly?
And we had so many flash flood warnings yesterday.
That was Vermont. That had the 2 months of rain in 4 days when it was all that.
Yeah. So, she says up in upstate New York and Vermont. Yeah, we had a lot of flash flood warnings that came across the phone yesterday too. And there was a lot of flooding here on River Street, over in my area, the basement of my building flooded.
Why is there flooding? Is it
poor?
Can they answer that?
That's why I'm hoping so, because is we have bad infrastructure or what?
Yeah. So who is our interview with this? It's the people who can answer that question.
Boston Transportation
Department, and they're going to be talking to us about the Blue Hill Ave redesign and
we might need Boston water and sewer too.
And I know we do have to talk to them, because them dudes just be sitting in the truck not doing nothing all the time. But anyhow, we're gonna get into all of that interview in a minute. Another check-in. Shinanu, how are you? I'm gonna toss the ball to Shinanu. You're doing well?
Yeah.
Good.
Pretty much.
I feel like we haven't seen you in a week.
Yeah. I was here.
Well, this is his schedule. He comes in Wednesday through Friday. And Leah comes in Monday through Wednesday.
Oh, that's true, because at the end of the week, I'll be like, where is Leah? I haven't seen her in a week. So
she's like a Jamaican, because she is, and she has several jobs.
Oh, Tria job. Yes. All right. Well, it's good to see you again, Shinanu. Triz, how you doing? Are you recovered?
Oh man, I'm almost 100%.
We got a very cautious text message from our mother today to make sure that we are taking care of you
Aw.
because they heard that your back is broken and that you should be at the emergency room.
I should, but it's not so bad as of yet. But basically, shout out to everybody that attended Sundays. This past Sunday's Family Day, the Togetherness Honduran Family Day. That was a great event that my mother and I and a couple of people, the Boston Honduras Coalition, put together each year. And I was out there busting my ass,
You did,
as I usually
literally.
do. And when it got towards the closing of the event, and I was going to put something inside of my mother's vehicle, my body said, "Yep, nope. Yep, nope. Sit your ass down.
He
You ain't
disappeared
doing
quite
Nathan.
quick.
You ain't doing Nathan else. You about to have. You got to call help. If you need,
Call in the
needs-
reinforcement.
Yes.
SOS.
So shout out to the people that helped me, but man, I've never felt pain like that before. I had I'm assuming there were back spasms, right? And muscle spasms, back spasms, and it felt crazy. I couldn't lift a thing. Sometimes I felt
Charlie
like
horse in your
I
back.
felt like busting out with some tears. Honestly, it was crazy. Like, have you guys ever had your breath taken away from you
With
from
pain?
your with pain?
Yes.
That's what it was. Like, I
Yes.
couldn't talk at certain times. I'm
Yes.
just like pointing at stuff like, yo, this just
Sounds like
Yeah.
childbirth.
take it, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
shout out to
I'm
the
glad you're
people.
feeling better. You should have asked me. I have some good drugs that fight back pain.
Boy, everybody wanted to feed me some drugs. I
I
don't
got-
like too much of drugs, you know.
gabapentins and
know.
Flexerils and
know.
some other things that'll work.
I had some Honduras medicine and
Oh, Honduras medicine is good. That's when I slept this week because I haven't been sleeping. But I got a Tapsine the night before, and I took that before bed. Ooh, child, I slept like a child.
Yes.
some what? Some Tapsine?
Tapsine.
What's
Yeah.
that?
There's a little Alka-Seltzer
Like
like a
Alka-Seltzers.
situation from
Oh,
Honduras.
the blue
Yep,
pack?
yep. But they
Yeah.
have them in different colors because different colors do different things.
I got a whole pack of those.
That's
But-
crazy that Honduras medicine doing this thing. And
Yeah.
Western medicine is not.
It's not. Anyhow, and Sauce, how are you? How are you
Yes,
doing
yes.
today? How's your evening?
Today is going to be a very busy day. There's a lot going on. I need to go and get my vehicle registered so
right.
that
Ooh.
you was about to go there.
I-
And that's
You see what I did there? I caught myself.
You did cut yourself.
Yes.
But I'm riding dirty. Well, not really, because I have a license. I got one of those, so
Yes.
I'm good. But my vehicle needs to whatever. The funny thing is that they told me that I have all these tickets and that I couldn't register my vehicle. So I went down to downtown. Shout outs to Miss Tony for taking me down there. And I had like $500 in tickets, and it was like, you have no hold on your registration. You don't have to pay them today. And I was like, bye.
don't tell me that.
I did pay half of them though, so I can start to chip away with it. But they was like, "This is not why you have a hold on your registration. You got to go to register." I was like, "Okay, I'll see y'all later then. You have a good day, ma'am."
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get that good because I've been collecting some tickets and I don't want them.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
It's terrible.
Don't let them build up. Last time I had tickets, I had to spend about maybe a couple of thousand.
But the thing is they got tickets in there all the way from like 2013. I'm like, I know I came here before
It
to
never
pay
used to be
tickets.
like that though. I
Yeah.
remember used to get a ticket. If you didn't pay that ticket in 6 months, then you would get a suspended license. But they don't do that no more.
No,
No,
they let them
it
accumulate.
which is stupid, so that you end up paying between them and the tolls.
Oh, I got a letter from
man.
a lawyer about my toll bills the other day.
Really? Oh,
From
they
a
sent you the
from a law
collections.
office.
I don't
I'm
like
good,
that.
Send me the collections.
I don't like
Settle
that.
this and I don't have to pay all of it.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
If I don't stop
Yeah.
and ain't nobody there,
There's
it's
nobody.
a free road.
There's nobody there anymore.
It's a free road.
Well, there's nobody there anymore. There's no more toll booths.
And that's only in Massachusetts. Once
Right.
you hit New York, New Jersey,
Oh yes,
they got
that's true.
people down there.
That is true. But they're supposed to do like a pay by plate. So they're supposed to send you it, and then if you don't pay it,
But
it's just
I
like, I
don't
don't think
like
that makes any
that.
sense.
I don't like it.
No,
Right.
I would rather you have somebody there so I can just pay this.
Yes.
You're making it assume that I have time
Yep.
to sit there and get this and wait for this in the mail
Yeah.
and then write you a check
Yeah.
Nope.
or something like that
Yeah.
to pay it.
Yeah,
I don't.
that's not fair.
Nope.
They
Did we
need what
vote
they
on
need
that?
to do is when you
No.
register your car, they need to take a credit card to have on hold for your tolls. I think that's a good idea.
What's his name that used to be the Harvard professor, the black man?
Cornell West.
Cornell West. I'm voting for
I
Cornell
thought
West.
that you. I thought
Because
that you.
Cornell West got some ideas where he wants the Democrats. He wants a country. He wants the country to be real democratic and wants people to vote for these things. and stuff
America
like that.
would never.
They would
And
never.
I think I'm going and turning independent.
Oh, I am too. I already
Cornell
said
West. I
was.
think this is the first time
Yep.
that both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are going to lose hella people, and people going to vote for Cornell West.
I know this would have been a good time for Bernie to get back in there.
He sure would, because we love. But I'm.
Who don't want to vote for the Harvard professor?
Bernie is the same age as Biden.
I know, but Bernie looks a little bit more fragile.
Does he?
Yeah, he. If we look,
I think Biden does.
I think Biden
You
is
ever see Biden
fragile.
run? You see Biden run?
every time I see Biden run, he slip a little bit.
He fall down a little bit. Poor little thing. I always want to go help Uncle Joe.
Me
Uncle
too.
Joe.
Uncle Joe Biden. Uncle Joe Biden. I like that man a lot, but I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know. Anyways, people, we do have a really great show lined up for you guys today. Today we are talking to the Boston Transportation Department about a lot of the developments that we're seeing happening around town. If you guys have questions, concerns, answers, statements, whatever, you can write them down in the chat section, or you can call us up at 617-272-3387, 617-272-3387. With that said, we are going to take a very quick break, get them ready to go, and then we will get into the rest of the show a little bit later in the second. Spark FM Online, #1 for urban and Caribbean music.
You're listening to Saucy and Friends in the morning with Miss Hot Sauce, Miss Tony, and Rockstone Triz.
Call Spark FM at 617-272-3387.
The all-new Spark FM. Spark FM. Log on to sparkfmonline.com. The NAACP convention is coming to Boston, July 26th to August 1st. We invite you to join us as we welcome thousands of civil and human rights leaders from across the country to our great city of Boston. We need 1,500 volunteers to come support the NAACP Boston Community Day Action and Service on July 22nd. Be a greeter who welcomes conventioneers at the Logan Airport or the BCEC Convention Hall, or help with registration and other program and events. To sign up, go to www.naacpboston.org to register as a volunteer. With Boston NAACP, we continue thriving together. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Did you know that you can now get a standard Massachusetts driver's license regardless of your immigration status? To get help with your application, a list of all required documents, and nearby appointment scheduling, visit mass.gov/WFMA. Your license is your way forward, so why not get started today? Register now at mass.gov/WFMA or call 857-368-WFMA.
Friday, August 4th, YumbaMarket.com and SparkFMOnline.com. New king of crock, Memphis' own Deuce. Live for one night only.
Hey, it's the King of Kong Duke Deuce, man. New England, Boston and Cambridge, I will be performing live, man. August 4th at the Middle East.
Also performing live, Key, J-Band, Brandy Blaze, Why Try and Use. Hosted by Scooby Al. Music by DJ Dutch. Rockstone Triz. Steph Drippy at the Middle East. 472 480 Mass Avenue, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Doors open at 8 p.m. Showtime 10 p.m. For
tickets, visit MidEastOffers.com. Listen to Spark FM online for a chance to win tickets.
Are you tired of renting and need more of your own space? Are you getting stressful letters or calls from the bank? Does your home require expensive repairs and you just don't have the funds to fix them? Regardless of whether you want to buy or sell, Taylor Andre of Thumbprint Realty is here to help. From saving your home from foreclosure to walking you through the process of becoming a first-time homeowner, Taylor makes real estate easy. With your best interests at heart, knowledge of the market, and a passion for people, Taylor is dedicated and motivated to serve you.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Taylor Andre, and I am determined and dedicated in assisting you in all of your real estate needs. Give me a call at 617-459-0041. Again, that number is 617-459-0041. Or you can email me at TAYLAANDRE@thumbprintrealty.com.
Advertise your business, brand, or music on Spark FM. Contact us at sparkfmonline.com for more information.
The all-new Spark FM.
You're the baddest one.
Spark FM. You are now listening to Spark FM. Spark FM.
You're going too easy to switch dog. That's what they mean to be killed dog. So you can give me the 17 dog.
Spark FM.
Oh, yes, you kindly. Miss Jolie, know your mango sweet, so Jolie, know your
New England's #1 urban Caribbean music. Radio.
Spark FM.
Good morning again. Good morning again. We are back. And like we said, we are going to continue to bring you guys the people that you all have questions for. Instead of us trying to figure it out ourselves, we're going to call in the experts here. Yeah. So today we are sitting with two of our great people from the Boston Transportation Department. We have Christy and Maya, and their project manager and transportation transportation planner for Blue Hill Ave, which is, as most of you guys know, is one of the is it the longest actual street in Boston?
Yep.
Besides
in the city of Boston.
In the city of Boston, that goes through every single one of the neighborhoods from
Dorchester,
all the way up. Mm-hmm. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Spark FM Online. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Good. I'm excited to have you guys here. We've been talking about this a lot because, as you guys know, it's one of the prime streets that most of us go through all the time. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing the changes, we're seeing the developments, we're seeing all the things, and we're like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Or I don't know how I feel about it.
Yes. So we'll start. You guys can introduce yourselves. Let us know, what your position does, and what you guys do to help this development go through.
Yeah. Do you want to start, Maya? Yeah. Hi, my name is Maya. I'm a planner at the Boston Transportation Department. I work mostly on transit projects, so that's a lot of bus projects, and I'm helping out on the Blue Hill Ave Transportation Action Plan with my colleague Kirsty here.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Kirsty Hostetter. I'm the project manager for the Blue Hill Avenue Transportation Action Plan. Bit of a mouthful, but I'm also on the transit team, but this is really my main project at the Boston Transportation Department. And really, what the project is about is, you all know, you've been down Blue Hill Ave. Mm-hmm. Blue Hill Ave is amazing. It connects so many amazing communities, amazing resources, which is fantastic. The problem that we've heard both through this current process and for years is that no matter how you get around Blue Hill Avenue, whether you're driving, you're on a bus, you're walking, you're biking, it can be chaotic, stressful, and feel really unsafe.
Yes.
And so the core goal of this project is to address that. So our number one project goal is addressing pedestrian safety. Okay. We have heard stories from folks with small kids trying to cross to Franklin Park, to Harambee Park, and they feel like they can't cross the street.
Now this hits home literally for me. Yeah. I live on Blue Hill Avenue. Yeah. And so you just mentioned Harambee Park, and from where I live to Harambee Park, like, we have to cross over Blue Hill Ave, and there's a crosswalk up there, and there's one down there. But there's not one in the middle here. So
And not everybody's going to walk to use that crosswalk.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So like, I hope that's something that we can talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's goal number one. Goal number two is really to expand the transportation options available on Blue Hill Avenue and the reliability of those. So when we looked at Blue Hill Avenue, we actually were able to discover that over half of people traveling on Blue Hill Avenue during rush hour are actually on buses, which you might not know if you haven't been on the bus, or, you know, the bus seems so much smaller than all the cars around it. But that's actually how most people are getting around on Blue Hill Avenue. And
What's the number of people? Because that was a high number of people with almost 25,000 people getting on and off the buses each weekday. Wow.
Yeah. It's actually gone up from there. So to put it in perspective, it's almost twice the number of people who fit in TD Garden who get on and off buses every day on Blue Hill Avenue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the amount of time that those folks, if you add it all up, you look at how much time they're losing to traffic and delays. So not just the time spent on the bus, like the extra time beyond what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
It's over 3,000 hours, which means you could walk to Anchorage, Alaska and back.
And that's every weekday.
You can walk to Alaska and back. That's crazy.
I was Googling places that you could get to from Boston. I was like, LA, it was like, not enough time. Seattle, not enough time. Anchorage, oh, there we go. That's about it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is interesting. Okay, so what is the plan? If you were to sum up the plan of what we're trying to do, what are we trying to do on Blue Hill Ave?
Yeah, so the third goal, real quick, before I talk about like the options that we're talking about with folks, the third goal is really, like you all said, Blue Hill Ave, there's development, people are seeing changes. We want to make sure that we're not planning for the road on our own without talking to everybody else.
Okay.
So we're working with our colleagues in the Office of Housing. We're working with our colleagues in the Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion. We're working with the Boston Planning and Development Agency to make sure that we're planning in a way that fosters community and builds the community that's there instead of, causing displacement or things like that. So we're working really hard on that front. But in terms of, what we'd like to do, so the city has been clear that we think there's a pretty strong demonstrated need for better bus service and like better bus lanes on this corridor, and we're really interested in center running bus lanes.
And when you say the city has demonstrated that, is that the city up there, or is it us common people?
I love that question because it's so. Call me out on it at any time. Ask me to explain a term because we get in jargony quickly. So. Just based on those statistics about our bus riders, based on who we know our bus riders are. So the vast majority of folks traveling on buses on Blue Hill qualify as low income. It's like more than 90% of those folks are people of color. They're people who, need access, and the bus is the way to get them that access. So from an equity perspective, and then also just from the numbers, we feel like that tells a clear direction for us.
Okay, good.
But we have heard pushback about, it's a big change. Folks understandably have lots of questions. So we have sort of two options that we've laid out for folks to talk about. The first is what we're calling a multimodal corridor.
A multimodal corridor?
Multimodal. So that's like modes of transportation, whether you're driving, walking, taking the bus, maybe biking. We want to make sure that we're accommodating all those different ways of getting around.
All right.
So that's what this option kind of covers.
So that's one option that we've sort of laid out and presented to folks. Because of what we've done, we've been in this this iteration of engagement on Blue Hill Avenue since 2021, like early 2022. And since we did hear, are there other options? We've also outlined a second option that we're calling enhanced existing conditions. I'm sorry for the
enhanced existing conditions. What's this one?
So that one is basically just looking at what we can do to reach goal number one, which is enhanced pedestrian safety.
It's fancy what we already got now.
Under option one, we would have the capacity to do tons of green infrastructure. I heard you all talking about flooding earlier. We can get into that a little bit. We would do rain gardens. We would plant a ton more trees. We'd have space to do that.
That's one of the things.
Under option two, it would have to be sort of tailored back. So we would fill all of the empty tree pits, but we wouldn't be planting trees in places where they aren't today. We wouldn't really be able to do as much. And it would be more of smaller scale, because we've said folks have been concerned about us doing too much building, doing too much construction. So it's more of
sunlight.
Yeah, it's more of like, putting in, we call them like bump outs, where instead of a crossing, if you go to an intersection.
Oh, those things that are coming out into the road.
Yeah,
Oh,
a little bit, so that you can see the car better and the car can see you.
Yeah.
That scale of stuff as opposed to like a full scale. And of course, no matter what, I promise we're going to pave this road.
Now,
I know those potholes are bad.
The Blue Hill Ave action plan now isn't just the streets, it's also the empty lots, correct?
So that's the very similarly named Blue Hill Avenue Action Plan led by our colleagues in the mayor's office of housing.
That's something different.
Oh, that's
Yes, it is.
So you guys are just strictly the street.
Blue Hill Ave Transportation Action Plan.
We're working very closely with them. I meet with that project manager, Julio. He's wonderful. Many times.
Okay. You mentioned about the trees, and I know we did. They have the Mattapan Square stroll thing that they've been doing for a few years. And the first one that we went to, there was a project there that was working on Blue Hill Ave is hot. And they were saying how, like, because there aren't enough trees on Blue Hill Ave, it is very, very hot. And we have experienced the heat of Blue Hill Ave.
Yeah.
And I looked around and I was like, there aren't many trees here. So you said one of the options would be to plant more trees with one of the plans. The other one would be to fill the tree pits.
Yeah, so if you walk on Blue Hill Avenue, sometimes you'll see those just like square patches of dirt.
Yes.
Trees used to be there.
Yes.
So we would make sure that all of those get replanted, and we actually have, she has a very fancy title, the Director of Green Infrastructure.
Oh, wow.
We hired. But she knows her trees. So she knows how to plant a tree so that it will actually survive even in conditions like you see in Boston. Which is really exciting. So she's developing a plant palette for the city, like a color palette, but a plant palette of like species that do well in this type of climate, both in terms of trees, but also like lowlands grasses and stuff.
And we're working on ways to plant trees that don't uproot the sidewalk.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
another thing.
That we
but
see a lot.
And how? I know this is a weird question, but how many trees are kind of missing? From that, because when you say that there are empty places, empty. Like where'd they go?
Yes. So often they died, or like frankly, we unfortunately when we did a lot of our tree planting in the 80s, we were just trying to get as many trees as we could in the ground, and we didn't know as much then as we do now about what trees require to survive in Boston. But you can actually find all of this information online. The Parks Department recently did a street tree inventory of the whole city. So you can look up all of your street trees. You can see which ones are missing. They have the empty tree pits on there too. You can see what kind of trees they are, like what size, how healthy they are, everything online.
And if you see an empty tree pit on the street, you can go into the 311 app and actually report it and request a new tree there. So that helps us identify where the pits are empty in case we've missed it and find new opportunities to fill those.
Right. So you said earlier, so many people, there's been pushback, understandably so, because people, have questions. And I think the reason for that is that we don't understand what is really going on, and we don't understand how it will better, because we're just hearing they're going to put bus lanes in the middle of Blue Hill Ave, and we're like, oh hell no,
and then bike lanes, and then this lane,
and so we, who are drivers, we're like, what does that mean for people who drive? And so now to get down to the nitty gritty, can you tell us what that plan looks like and how that will benefit us as drivers as well as other people, please?
So one of my main goals for folks who drive Blue Hill Avenue is I want it to be less stressful for you to drive down Blue Hill Avenue.
Don't start digging your grave.
Wait a minute,
run me out of town if But that really is the goal.
Yes.
So Maya and I were talking with these lovely ladies the other day. Do you want to tell them about that conversation a little bit we had about their experience driving on Blue Hill?
Yes. So we were talking to these older ladies, and they expressed a lot of the same concerns that you just did. But then we asked them, we were like, how do you feel when you're driving down Blue Hill? And they had this really visceral response to that question, because they had these experiences that immediately popped to the front of their head, where they were sitting in traffic, like gridlock traffic, like you tend to see on Blue Hill at rush hour, and they had emergency vehicles coming up behind them. And because they were in gridlock traffic, there was nowhere to pull over. People are double, sometimes triple parking on the side of the street. There's no space to pull over, and they were so stressed and so scared that the emergency vehicle wouldn't be able to get to where it needed to go, and they
that,
had no space to pull
siren
over.
Behind you,
It's
so
really
intimidating.
stressful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, where am I supposed to go?
Yeah, and they had their grandkids in the car, and they were
Yes.
just so worried. They said, I don't want to be in the way, but I have nowhere to go, and I
Yeah.
want to make sure that this ambulance can get to where it needs to go.
Exactly.
So that was an experience that like
Everybody,
immediately
you're
popped to the
giving
front of mind.
everybody right now what you're saying right now. Whoever's driven down American
Yeah.
Legion is
Yeah.
just losing it. Because
So that's one thing where like it just was really stressful. So that's
Right.
one thing where when we talk about center running bus lanes, that's an opportunity where we can address some of that concern, because when you have them like that, that's a space that emergency vehicles can actually use.
Okay.
And that is open not to cars but to buses. And when emergency vehicles like an ambulance needs to go up Blue Hill, there's that space for them, and cars don't need to worry about trying to find somewhere to pull over when there's maybe not space.
Okay.
So that takes a little bit of that anxiety away. And when we mentioned that to those ladies, they were like, I don't want to be stuck in that situation ever again, because it was so stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
So with the plan, will there still be 2 lanes on Blue Hill Ave, or will Blue Hill Ave turn into 1 lane in those areas with the center bus lane?
Yeah, so I want to be clear too that we haven't made a decision yet.
Okay.
So when you ask, what's the plan? Like,
Yeah.
frankly, we don't have one.
Because I feel like I've seen a couple of renditions of
Yes.
different things,
Right.
whether it be
Yes.
parallel parking, side parking,
Yeah.
trees on
Yeah.
this side, trees on that side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've started putting visuals on paper because, for our visual learners out
Yes.
there, when
Yeah.
we were talking about all this,
Oh, yeah.
they were
Yeah.
like, I don't, until you put it on paper,
Yeah.
I do not know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So what we did with these 2 options is we kind of put out the maximalist, like multimodal corridor. We go full center running bus lane, we go full protected bike lane, and we see what that means for the street and like what trade-offs that creates. And then we looked at sort of enhanced existing. Even under enhanced existing, there would be some parking spaces you'd lose because Blue Hill Avenue does not meet our current safety standards. So there are places like, a good example is that it's actually technically illegal in the city of Boston to park within 20 feet of a crosswalk, which you'd never know driving around.
Because
Sometimes you park right as long as you're not on the crosswalk, you're fine.
And so the reason that that's dangerous is because, like, you can imagine if there's a small kid trying to use that crosswalk and the
you
car
can't
is parked all the
see.
way, you can't see them and they
Yeah.
can't see
Yeah.
you.
Right.
And it creates a lot of dangerous situations. So no matter what, we are looking at parking space loss on Blue Hill. What we're doing on the parking space end specifically is parking's really about parking availability is actually 2 things. It's the number of spaces, but it's also the number of people who can use that space per hour.
Oh.
And right now, Blue Hill Avenue, I mean, y'all know it's not well enforced with the double and the triple parking.
It's crazy.
It's
So that's
I'm guilty of it.
and that's something they're implementing coming July 31st, correct?
what's that?
So I know for people that live in Mattapan, we have to get stickers now to to park our cars on our streets.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Absolutely. Resident parking. in
Oh, really?
Mattapan, yes.
Oh.
So I'm assuming that this is going to translate to Dorchester and Roxbury soon.
There are some areas
So
that I
we have to
in
put our
Dorchester and
stickers.
Roxbury
I live on a residential street,
Yeah.
all one families. We have to put a sticker on our cars now to park our cars on the street. If not, I'm not sure what happens.
Yeah, you'll there's
like-
resident
it's
parking
cut
during
2
certain
hours,
hours,
it's resident
and if not,
parking.
they can come and they can ticket you. But there are areas in Dorchester and Roxbury that have
Yeah.
that have resident
Yeah.
parking too. Yep.
But it's a little sporadic throughout
Yeah.
the city.
Do
like
you
where
guys
find it.
are you guys involved in that too?
No, so we're not involved directly in that program. We've been talking with the team that does programs like that as we're thinking about Blue Hill Avenue in the future, because we want to look at things like resident permit parking, because there are folks who, the amazing thing about Blue Hill Avenue, but the really difficult thing when it comes to planning, is that you have everything on Blue Hill.
Yeah.
You have houses,
Stores.
you have condos, you
Yep.
have stores, you have
Commercial.
churches, you have
Event
everything.
spaces.
Yeah.
Event
Yeah.
spaces, Carter Post,
Yeah.
lovely place. So, we have to really think about all of that. So we're talking with the folks who run our resident parking permit program. We're talking with the folks who do the parking regulations. So, in front of a nail salon, like you need 2 hours parking.
You need 2 hour
But
parking.
in front of somewhere like Happy Supermarket,
Yeah.
you probably just need a pickup drop off sort of situation.
that-
Yeah.
And then that means that instead of
Feeling it?
1 car every 2 hours, you can have 8 cars every 2
Yeah.
hours.
I go over to Happy Supermarket and I'm like, why are there people triple parked outside of an empty parking space? And then I me being a good citizen, I squeeze my way into the parking space and then have to wait 3 hours.
Yes.
To come out.
We appreciate you.
All the time. That's what I do. I asked that question about the lanes because I see what they did down Eggleston between Jackson and Eggleston Square, and they've made it into like one lane, and then there's the bus lanes in the middle, and that tends to be high traffic, especially during 3 to 5 p.m. or 3 to 6 p.m. And so I was just like, this would not work on Blue Hill Ave.
So
I don't think.
Under the current plan, there are areas where it might go down to one lane, especially where you have like the bus islands.
Yes.
We looked at Columbus because we heard that kind of feedback, and folks were saying, it's really bad.
Yeah.
We are worried about how this went.
Yeah, if you even just like a very basic look at Columbus Ave and road and things like that, you're like, what was the plan?
So
do you all drive?
No, I don't own a car. I have a license, but I
You
don't
don't
own a car.
drive.
I don't own a car either. I do drive in the city sometimes. I do the zip car thing.
Yes.
We need you guys to drive a little bit. We need you guys to rent a nice little tour road, stay in the hood.
She is the zip car.
I do the zip car. I've driven the Blue Hill Ave a couple times.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant. But the thing about Columbus Ave is that, yes, it definitely, it does take a little bit longer. When we did the study, it takes about between 20 and 40 seconds longer to drive Columbus Ave.
Seconds?
On average. There are always going to be those times where like someone parks they're not supposed to, you gotta go around, they create a mess, but that's not the majority of people's experience. The reason why, so when I say 20 to 40 seconds longer, that's comparing to 2016 to 2019, before the pandemic.
Yes.
So it's hard because, folks, this got built during the pandemic.
Yes.
So if you're thinking about that when, like, nobody was on the road, it feels a lot longer because it is compared to 2020.
Yes.
So I don't want folks to think like, oh, you're not listening to me. Like, I totally get that. It does feel a lot longer.
Right. Yeah.
But when we look back, it's not that much worse. And bus riders are saving about 5 minutes per direction during the peak time. The other thing is that people are actually going the speed limit now. So everybody's going 25 miles per hour or under, which I know can be frustrating if you're trying to get somewhere.
Are they doing it? I mean, are they being forced to go the speed limit because of the fact that they can't go any faster? Because it's, I mean, and I get so for me, I guess I always get it, but at the same time, I do feel like priority is given to public transportation takers and bikers. And so although we are trying to make it equal for all, I do feel like there's so many more cars that are on the street and people that are unwilling to turn in those cars to accept these other two roads. So I don't feel like the traffic will ever get better.
And I want to know if they take into consideration that the public transportation ends around in Boston, Massachusetts, around 12 o'clock at night and 1 in the morning, and cars are continued to be on the road.
Yeah, so these are all good questions. So luckily, at that time of night, we don't see a ton of traffic around Boston.
Best time to drive. Best time to drive.
Do not leave your house.
I know.
Anyway.
Trust me, I've been in that Uber at 1 o'clock. We're flying on Columbus.
So, we're definitely thinking about that. There was a night bus pilot with the MBTA that didn't get continued, but we're talking, we have a nightlife czar now.
We got to bring that back. Bring back the night owl, y'all.
I would say we're very supportive of more late night transportation, public transportation options. In terms of, how we're thinking and talking about space, we're really taking into account who are these folks who are on the bus. So it is the people who need the most help, who are most at risk economically, and that kind of thing, and who really need that access to jobs. The other part of it too is that we only have so much space in Boston.
Yeah.
So if driving continues to be the best option everywhere, and that's really your only way to get around feasibly, are you going to drive 15 minutes down Blue Hill, or are you going to take a bus that could take anywhere between 35 and an hour and 15 minutes?
Exactly.
We're running out of space.
Yeah.
So we have to make public transit a better option, because the thing is, I know that there are people who are always going to need to drive. And by no means are we saying that everybody needs to get on a bus or a bike. That's not it. I want people who need to drive to have the space they need to do that. I want you to not be stuck in traffic when you're trying to get your parent to the hospital for a checkup or for
Right.
an appointment, you know? And then I want the folks who can't afford to buy a car to also be able to get to that appointment. And if we make public transit a better option, we've seen that folks like will, maybe not you, maybe not the people you know, but some people will switch.
Well, that's
to
a
public
whole
transit.
nother conversation, because then you're talking about the MBTA, which is just
Yeah.
So, and then
I
that's
know.
the other
Different
thing. So then when we think about, you know, like getting people to go on to do more public transportation, we are also hearing about the many difficulties that the public transportation has. So even though I might be getting to where I might want to get faster, it might be that I have to walk through a tunnel before I have to get there or jump off of a bridge. You know, like, so these are the different things that we have to, like, would I rather stay in traffic in my car or potentially have to, you know, get
a
into a
speaker box drop
situation?
on your head.
Yeah, like those kind of things.
No, and I completely hear you. Trust me, I've been on those trains where you get into some weird situations.
Yeah.
But one thing we see is that regardless of what's happening with the train, our buses are our workhorses of the system. Our buses, buses are pretty tried
Reliable.
and true technology. Like,
More
we know
reliable,
how to
definitely.
make our buses work. We are trying to help them work better because when you're on the bus, it's a piece of tech that we've had for a long time. We know how to operate them. We know how to make them go places, and we know how to fix them, and we know how to fix them quickly.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking of like building new rail, like new trains, that takes a very long time. That can be like generations. You saw it took so long to get the Green Line extension.
Yeah.
But bus lanes and other things that make the bus work better can be built in like a year to 2 years.
Okay.
So when we think of ways to improve bus service, that can happen a lot quicker, which means that people don't have to wait a generation to see that change. They can see it within a relatively short span of time. And I also just want to say that there used to be a trolley down Blue Hill Ave, and I
Back
just
in the
learned
day,
this
yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
So there used to be a trolley. So there is like there once was good public transportation on Blue Hill Ave, but unfortunately that just wasn't an option for people for a long time, and now people are relying on like the 28, the 22, the 29, all
free
of these
buses.
Yeah, so there are all these, and the 31, I was just on that the other day, all these buses that go down Blue Hill, but they don't have that same space that they used to have.
Where happened to the space?
Yeah,
So where, like,
Well,
what? Nothing went
Well,
into
the trolley
street.
space, remember, the trolleys used to go, some of the trolleys used to go above the roads and all that. They got rid of all that.
Yeah.
Oh,
They got
okay.
rid of they got rid of the
The elevated.
from Dudley
Yeah.
Station. You
Yeah.
should go into NLC
Yeah, the old
Station
elevated.
to-
So
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
there was also a separate trolley that went kind of down Seaver Street. You know, like that if you're traveling east on Seaver and you turn southbound onto Blue Hill, there's like, we call it a slip lane, like that big right turn lane.
Yeah.
That actually is where the trolley went. So that's why that space was there. The trolley went through there and then went to the middle of Blue Hill and went all the way down to Madison
Is that
Square.
not an option too?
bring that back.
Bringing back the uppers. You know,
No,
like I mean,
no,
like,
no option.
No.
because
So they
I
got
know.
rid of that because of the sunlight and all that other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I
It
know,
made
like,
for
in-
pretty bad living conditions under it because it's noisy. There's always dust,
Like
falling.
New
Remember
York.
the Forest
Yeah.
Hill Bridge,
Yeah.
which was never, ever fixed, and we were just
It would
like,
never ever bridge.
never,
Yeah.
it was just like never. It was just.
I guess because I'm thinking, I think directly towards like New York and how a lot of New York still has huge, you know, overpasses of trains, lanes, and stuff like that, which I get because they're crowded. So maybe we don't want that, but you know, like maybe we don't know what we want because I feel like most of us want to be inclusive when it comes to the roads and be able to whatever. But then I guess I fall back on the fact that I feel like there's so many more cars on the road than, you know, like than the people on the bus who can fit like 57 versus all of these cars of little people. And I don't know if how people are going to get
more cars on the road though.
than buses.
So
Well,
there
I mean, not
there are more vehicles.
not than buses, not
Yeah.
than buses,
but there's
like,
more people in the
Yeah,
bus
that's
than
what-
are
okay.
in
That's
Yes.
what I was gonna ask.
It's
That's
just
what I
that
was gonna
people in the bus take up way less space. It's a
Yeah.
much more efficient use of
And
space.
I feel like not only that, us car drivers in Boston, unfortunately, we don't utilize our carpooling too much.
You
What's
don't.
that? What's
Okay.
that?
Because I mean, I feel like
Only
that's
when we need to go on the expressway and we have to get into the expressway.
Come with me. But I feel like that's another campaign that should be ran too. Like alongside with trying to figure out planning, maybe that's a good way to say like, hey, in order to not do the most, maybe y'all should start carpooling a little bit more to get more people into private cars that can get to different places that people are going.
Or even shuttle buses, incentives for shuttle buses for businesses or something like that. That would be really dope.
Absolutely. That's actually something that we've been talking about. We don't have any firm plans, but we actually have a really successful model of that in Boston, and it's called the Mission Hill Link. Maya, if you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm a Mission Hill resident, and the Link is this neighborhood shuttle bus that has funding from a lot of different sources, but basically we have a lot of seniors on Mission Hill, and we also have some hospitals at the top of the hill. Yeah. So a lot of folks who have trouble getting around, and this bus is like a local shuttle. I think it's like $1.75, but they're also, you can get on it for free if you're a senior, and it just takes this route up the hill. I don't know if y'all have ever been to the hill. I live at the top of it. It is a slog to get up there if you're walking.
That's where the senior citizens' homes are.
Yeah, so this bus just takes you, it takes you from the Stop and Shop, you go up the hill, you go over to all the senior citizens' homes, you go up to the hospital, and then it takes you back down to Roxbury Crossing, and some routes go over to Ruggles too. So that's like a neighborhood shuttle. It's really useful for residents. I take it when I have too many groceries, and that's the kind of model that we've seen works really well.
That's nice. Yeah, bring that over to Blue Hill Ave. So just to get back to the plan for actual Blue Hill Ave, how much of Blue Hill Ave are we looking at in the plans to do this?
So we are looking at between Mattapan Square and Grove Hall. Specifically Warren Street to the line with Milton. Okay. Kind of like where that bridge is. So because I know some folks have come to me and said, you made a decision, you're already doing your plan because they see construction up towards Dudley Street. Yes. That's actually Boston Water and Sewer Commission. Yeah. They're doing
when I saw what was going on in Dudley Street, I was like, are they putting this middle lane?
Everybody thinks it's not us. They're actually, to the point of the flooding, what they're doing is they're separating the wastewater and the stormwater systems so that we don't get overflows. It all comes back around. Coming back to it. So a great project, but not at all transportation related.
Very nice. Okay. All right. So we're from, you said from Mattapan Square all the way up to Grove Hall. Yeah. And that, I think that works because that's where Blue Hill Ave is the 2 or 3 lanes.
It's where it's wider. Like you would never put a center running bus lane north of there. The street is far too small.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's vital information.
As far as the sewage do you guys work with Boston Water and Sewer? Do you guys know anything about the flooding?
So you mentioned it a little bit, like infrastructure.
So we have this new director of green infrastructure, and as part of our multimodal corridor approach that we've been talking about, that really like big holistic approach, we are really focused on flooding and what we call green infrastructure. So that's things like rain gardens, so that when we get crazy storms like we did on Friday, all that water doesn't just pool in the street. We can actually use it to water plants. And we can use it to bring down the ambient air temperatures because Blue Hill Ave is an urban heat island. And we can also...
I think we learned something about that during like Blue Hill Ave Main Streets. They did, I think, some of planning committee was out there.
We got to put dots on things.
So we can also have things that are called bioswales. So these actually take all of that wastewater that you see in the street and it cleans it through natural processes because plants are really good at cleaning water and they're good at cleaning the air. So if we plant them in the right places and in the right types of soil, they can clean that water and then return it back to the earth, and we can just have that natural process going for more greenery.
It's like an idea.
Go ahead.
I solved it. I was in Bermuda recently, and in Bermuda, all of the houses have these white roofs, and they said that they go in every 2 years or every year or whatever, and they bleach down these roofs, and because they collect all their rainwater, and then they purify it through whatever their tanks are, and then they use it for drinking water. Can we build structures like that? Or is it different because of the environment?
I don't know if I want a little roof on it.
So the roofs are clean and pure because they're bleached. They make them with this special bleach thing. You collect it into these buckets, and then you can purify.
I think their rainwater is a little more pure.
That's what I was going to say.
So luckily we have really great drinking water here in Massachusetts.
That's what I've heard.
So the rainwater that we use.
I do.
I believe it.
Y'all don't drink tap water?
They don't drink tap water.
But I did tell them that we are one of the heavily regulated states.
So we have really good drinking water, which means that we don't need to use that rainwater for drinking. We can use it to water our plants.
Don't say really good. We still still
with
got
it.
PFAS.
We
We
got
still got
ice
plenty of
with it.
PFAS inside
And
the
then
water.
We got
Drink it like
potable
that.
water.
No, PFAS means
No, I know, it's those forever
the-
chemicals, yeah.
The 3M.
Yeah. But we
Shout out
have-
to 3M for, poisoning the whole world's water.
But basically, we can use our rainwater to water our plants and
Yes.
invest in more greenery.
Yeah, very good. I like that.
See, so I want to just get into maybe some of the questions. They're going crazy in the comment section. Let's see. Mostly about driving and things like that.
Yep.
I thought there was a couple
There was a good one
yeah.
here.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because we were talking about like where did all the space go for the streets or whatever. There's a lot more buildings that are being built in Boston all over.
Which
all
I
over
think
the
is a
place, too.
really bad idea in itself. I think that we need to stop. We don't have any open space. We don't have any place to just suck in the sun.
Yeah.
So one of the questions is this part of Marty Walsh's 2030 plan? Why can't we keep our 2 lanes? Give a dedicated bus lane at peak times like Washington Street, or widen the sidewalks and put the bikers on the sidewalk? That is a good question. How come the bikers can't share the sidewalk? Or how come we can't expand the sidewalk a little bit to include a bike lane
feel like there's
instead
never
of
people
taking
walking
off of... They walk. I just don't
not
see
too much.
bikers. I don't see as much bikers as we have bike lanes.
Yes. Yeah.
So part of that, why you might not see as many people on bikes as you think where we have bike lanes, is because it's not. We're sort of in this place where we don't really have a bike network yet.
Oh.
So it's hard because you can't always get from where you need to go to where you want to
Yeah,
go.
'cause
And
there's like
have
a
it be protected
piece
the whole-
of bike lane, and then there's not another one for
And then there's
the
not
next town.
anything. And
Yeah.
like if you're not super confident biking, or if you have some respect for your own life, there are certain streets in Boston that you would not bike on. So we actually do see, we were out doing bus surveys. We talked to over 600 bus riders on Blue Hill Avenue as part of this project. And even during that, the folks who were doing the surveys said they saw a lot of people biking and a lot of people on scooters, but they were all on the sidewalk, basically because they don't feel safe. On Blue Hill, which makes sense. But going back to the question about, so I think what they're referencing is a plan called Go Boston 2030.
Yes, heard
It
that.
is sort of the city's long-range transportation plan. And in there, we do have we have an identified need for bus rapid transit, or so really high-quality bus service all the way from Mattapan to Longwood Medical. So folks can get to their medical appointments. It's a huge job center that kind of developed after our subway system did. So, it's not downtown. It's farther west of downtown, but a lot of folks, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, have Longwood Medical as one of those key destinations.
Definitely.
So this is the biggest part of helping to attain that service. The reason to not do a peak bus hour on Blue Hill is because people are using it all day. The bus lane, people are on buses all the time. All the time.
25.
So,
But there are times that after 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock, the times the buses the
School times.
Around 11 to 3, there's not that much people on the buses like that.
Well, that's what you would think. But Kirsty and I, so we had these drop-in hours at the Grove Hall Library and the Mattapan Library. So we were on the bus at 11 to 12. Every single 28 bus was packed.
Really?
Because it is
what
such.
season was this?
This was last month.
This whole
Good.
2
This
months
whole
ago.
spring.
Good question.
Yeah.
So even with all of the things that for the bike lanes and for walking and things like that, are we taking into account the seasons? Because usually in the seasons, and are we seeing that same amount, that same population of people are as frequent in the winter? I know the bike lanes, for the bike lanes, I do Blue Hill Ave every day, and I probably see maybe 2 bikes.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it can be harder to bike in the winter, and there for sure folks who will choose not to bike in the winter. I'm one of them.
Me.
I don't like being cold. That doesn't go well for me.
It doesn't work.
But there are people who do choose to bike, and we really do have really solid transit ridership all year round, especially on the buses that run on Blue Hill Avenue. The buses that run on Blue Hill are way ahead of the rest of the system in terms of getting back to where they were in terms of ridership, even pre-COVID. They're above 90% of
That's
pre-COVID
true, because when we do
ridership.
talk about the problems at the MBTA, which we talk about daily, we don't usually hear about things with the troubles with the buses. That's not a thing that we hear of.
And so that's one of the nice things. Buses are inherently more flexible. If something goes wrong, let's say something happened, the police need to park in the bus lane. they can go around
They can go.
the police
I
car.
mean, the
If you're on
buses
a
don't
rail,
park
you
in the
can't.
bus lane anyways.
Right.
I never seen a bus.
Right.
And one thing you see about the buses on Blue Hill, because there are so many destinations along Blue Hill, whether you're going to church, going to the grocery store, picking up your kids, you see a lot of people making those trips within Blue Hill on the bus. So like going a mile on the bus.
That's true.
So regardless of
And
the time of
especially now
day,
that they're free.
yeah, people always need to run errands. You have a lot of older folks. You have a lot of younger folks. Like we see a lot of older folks with like their grandkids going around in the middle of the day, and they're making those more local trips, but they're still, so there's like ridership throughout the day that we see.
And then another question, because we have to start. Somebody wants to take the bike lanes off the street, make them a lane on the sidewalk, so tell them to get on the bus.
So that
You can put your bike on the front of the bus.
Yeah.
you can definitely put your bike on the front of the bus, and there actually is like there's something called a sidewalk level bike lane that you can do where the bike lane is like kind of on the sidewalk. You can see it. There's actually one in Boston. It's on
Mass
Yeah.
Ave?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Near,
I think that I have
the
seen
Christian
that.
Science Center across from that.
Yeah.
It's right on the level of the sidewalk there.
I feel like that's a good compromise. And then one last question: instead of a trolley, would a Silver Line style BRT be more feasible for Blue Hill Ave?
Yeah.
Probably too much cost and too little space. So if you were to describe the Silver Line that's separate from the regular lines, how would you do that?
Yeah, so the Silver Line is, well, we know from data that the Silver Line riders tend to be happier than other bus riders. Like, the buses are big, they're very clean, they run slightly more on time. The Silver Line, I used to live off the Silver Line. Love the bus. Dressed up as the Silver Line for Halloween. Got on the bus, got no reaction from the bus driver. Was very disappointed. But the problem with the Silver Line is that since it's on the side, it's just a double parking lane. People just double park in it. I rode that every day to work for a year, and we actually did a pilot recently where we were looking at Tufts Medical Center. It's a hospital, like the entrance. And the Silver Line, there were over 300 violations per day.
Really?
People parking, not even just in the bus lane, but in the bus stop. And what that means, if you're in a wheelchair, which a lot of folks going to Tufts Medical are, or they've got a cane, when that, there's that little flap that comes off the front door of the bus, if you can't get all the way to the sidewalk, that can't come out, so you literally can't get off the bus. That is taking away your access to where you need to go because somebody's parked there. And we see that a lot on Blue Hill Ave, too. So what's really nice about putting the buses in the center is that that's not close to where people want to be anyways. People want to go to the stores, they want to go to the restaurants, they want to go to the churches, they want to get home. So it's what we call sort of naturally self-enforcing.
And then another question with the center running bus lines, and we're gonna let you out because this conversation could go on forever. The way that everybody's all excited. Right after this, we're gonna figure out how we can get more involved with the planning and things like that. But with the center running bus lanes, what is the safety issue there with people getting in and off the bus in the center and then either having to cross over or stay there? Yeah.
So that is a fantastic question. And at first glance, you're like, why would I want to cross the street? So when you think about a trip you're making on a bus, it's usually a round trip. So when you're going one way, your bus stop is on your side of the street. You just walk right up to your bus stop on the sidewalk. You catch the bus. You go on your way. But when you're coming back, you get dropped off across the street. So on Blue Hill, sometimes that's 4 to 6 lanes of traffic that you have to cross. And like you mentioned, there's not always side or crosswalks where you want to cross. So sometimes you see people. I mean, I'm guilty of it because the crosswalks are so far apart. You just got to cross in the middle of the street to get back to your side of the street. Exactly. Or you just make a mad dash for it. So with the center lane, you do have to cross every time you get to the bus stop, but it's usually one lane of traffic. It's signalized, which means that you have the little
walking man.
You have the little walking man, and you can see the car. The
walking
car
person.
Yes, you can see the car. The car can see you, and you have that visibility. So it is a safer crossing than you just dashing across 6 lanes of traffic. And you also know that the place you're crossing is protected. It's in a crosswalk. So when we have these platforms, every single place where you can get onto the platform is like a proper protected crosswalk.
Okay, because I was like, if I'm a little old lady and I get off the bus,
oh
and
no,
I'm
no,
trying
no,
to
we are
cross
not
over,
just
I'm
dropping
like,
you off in the middle of the
Yeah.
street.
No.
Find your way.
Yeah.
No.
So, and we've actually worked really closely with our Disabilities Commission to make sure that they also approved of this type of design, and we've gone through a ton of like talks with them and stuff, and we've basically gotten like the rubber stamp from them that yes, this
I
is
feel like
good
every
for
time
folks.
you guys say something, I have another one. Last one.
Go
when we're surveying people and talking to the different commissions, are we also surveying the people who might not live exactly there, residents of there, but maybe pass through? Because we know that Blue Hill Ave, places like American Legion and things like that, a lot of us don't live there, but we go through there so frequently that it's almost like we live there. And then I feel like a lot of times those people that are driving or passing through there never really get involved, never really get that survey to say, what do you guys think about this? How does this work? It's only about, well, residents say this, and the people that live closest to there, we surveyed the 400 houses around there, but it's like, those are not the people who are most likely frequenting those places.
It was something like 40,000 people come down Blue Hill Ave from Milton every day, right? Something like that.
There's a lot of folks that come from Milton. So there's a couple of things we're doing. We're meeting with the town of Milton to make sure that we're not planning just as Boston, because
Milton's like, hello.
Yeah, you know.
Milton as well.
So we're doing that. We're surveying every single business on Blue Hill Avenue. So whether or not those folks live here, they run a business here, their input is super important. We want to know like how their business works, if they're doing pickup drop off, because that has a huge impact on the street where they're getting deliveries. We're also doing a bunch of stuff to try to meet folks where they are. So the thing is, not everybody wants to spend their Tuesday evening with me on Zoom. I get it, you know? So we've got a bunch of different things we've been doing, and Maya hop in because I might forget some, but we have been doing sort of these like open office hours at Mattapan Library, at the Grove Hall Library. We have bus shelter ads up all throughout Blue Hill Avenue. So whether you're taking the bus or you're a driver, you can see those, learn about the project, and find more information. We've also been going to concerts. We've been going to the open streets events. We've been going.
We were at the mayor's coffee hours that were held in Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan.
Yeah.
And I found this on your website. You have something called Real Talk Blue Hill Ave Community Conversation.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Can you tell us a little about that?
Absolutely.
So Real Talks for Change is a program we're working with. It's run by Caesar McDowell, who works at MIT. And it's kind of based on this idea that the most powerful thing you can have is a question. So sometimes it's hard to ask people to react to things because it takes time to digest information and form an opinion. But everybody has questions.
Yeah.
And the question that we come into these conversations with is, what is your question about the future of Blue Hill Ave and your place in it? So not even just strictly transportation based. It's like, what do you hope for the future? What are you a little worried about for the future? And we want folks to ask these questions and then figure out how we can start to address some of those questions, whether it's through our process or any of our partners that we work with throughout the city and the state. So these are 1 hour conversations that we have, and we take this data from our conversations. So the questions people bring up, the topics they bring up, and we are going to put that into a website where you can actually, so we get people's consent to record and take this data. So it's all anonymized, but you can hear snippets from these conversations. You can look at key themes that we've heard, and these are paid opportunities because we recognize that we want to compensate people for their time. So we're paying folks $40 an hour for their time. Sign up. I see you have the link on your computer. Sign up right now.
Signing up.
Please sign up.
Because I know you got questions.
Yes, we got, and I first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming here, and on your public transportation.
Take the commuter rail here.
Great
It
option.
is. See, that's a really good option. But yeah, thank you for coming out and answering some of the questions. I don't think this is the last time that we'll speak to you guys. You guys are invited here anytime that you make a new development or have questions. Come sit down with us. These people are willing to talk and willing to get involved. We are as well, and we want to be able that we're communicating to the community appropriately what's going on, what the plan is, and to help them to stay in the know. So we do thank you guys so much for giving us your time and coming here to speak to us, and we'll definitely reach out for more, reoccurring situations.
We would love to be back. And in the meantime, if folks have questions, our website is boston.gov/Blue Hill Avenue.
Okay.
We've got tons of information on there. You can look at the 2 different design approach options.
Let me let the people know there's a little $40 incentive.
She said that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's an hour of your time. We want to make sure you get compensated.
Yeah.
And if you want to come talk to us in person,
That's
actually, with
dope.
Consult Leela, we
Yes.
are running a Not Your Average public meeting
Yes.
tomorrow night, 6
Oh,
to
good.
8 p.m.
Yes.
Franklin
Nice.
Park Clubhouse. We'll have gift cards.
What's
$5
Franklin Park
gift cards.
Clubhouse?
In Franklin Park,
The
you know,
golf-
kind
the
of
one
like
at the
by
golf
golf
course.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There'll
Nice,
be food.
nice,
There'll
nice.
be a DJ.
Let me
It'll
tell
be.
you guys. Let me tell
It's
you.
called Not Your Average
Let me
Public
tell
Meeting
you.
for a reason. We're trying to give you all a reason to come out.
I
Be in there.
DJ'd the last meeting. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It's so fun.
I will say this: the community, we need you guys to come out more. All right,
Yeah.
we need you guys to come out more. There's food, there's DJs, there's vendors there.
Look at
you know what I mean? They're
that.
making it
Do you have a
interactive.
flyer for that?
So that I'll get it from Consult.
They're
Leela.
making
I'll
it an
have one.
interactive
Yeah.
meeting so that they can involve the community. You guys got to come out there.
Yeah.
Please support them. They're going to be over there at the golf course. What time?
6 to 8 p.m.
6 to 8 p.m. Go out
Very
there,
nice.
please.
Oh, that's awesome. I will be there because that sounds great.
Yes.
We'd love to see you.
Yeah,
6
I'm
to
not
8
DJing
tomorrow,
that one. They didn't call me to
Thursday.
DJ that one.
You
I'm
gotta
just
spread the
saying.
love.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna have a good time
much,
there, so
yeah.
make sure you guys come out tomorrow. Thank you guys again so much
Thanks for having us.
for coming here. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break. Everybody will be right back in a few minutes. Keep it locked. Spark FM Online, #1 for urban and Caribbean music.
The all-new Spark FM. Log on to sparkfmonline.com.
Yamba Market. Visit the first black-owned dispensary in Cambridge. Yamba Market's mission is to participate authentically in building a socially restorative adult cannabis market in Massachusetts and beyond. Their commitment to the Yamba family is to provide an inclusive and exemplary experience focused on a broad selection of unique strains, quality products, and customer journey. Open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. 580 Mass Avenue, Central Square, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Registration at yambamarket.com.
The NAACP convention is coming to Boston, July 26th to August 1st. We invite you to join us as we welcome thousands of civil and human rights leaders from across the country to our great city of Boston. We need 1,500 volunteers to come support the NAACP Boston Community Day Action and Service on July 22nd. Be a greeter who welcomes conventioneers at the Logan Airport or the BCEC Convention Hall, or help with registration and other program and events. To sign up, go to www.naacpboston.org to register as a volunteer. With Boston NAACP, we continue thriving together. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Finally Home is a must-read, step-by-step guide that will equip any first-time home buyer with the knowledge they need to confidently make informed decisions. This book provides answers in simple and clear terms to most, if not all, of the questions you may have about credit, home ownership, and generational wealth. Finally Home equips the reader with the confidence to be engaged with the home buying process without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tailor-made Real Estate Easy is not just a catchy hashtag. It is real estate agent and radio personality Taylor Andre's goal. A goal to simplify one of the most challenging processes you will go through as an adult. A goal to educate you properly on credit and teach you the strategies to finding the home of your dream. It is not just a good book or an easy read. It is the secret to a seamless home buying experience.
Hey yo, Spark FM Online and Lifted Smoking Goods present the ultimate rubber-dub, dancehall, reggae punishment. I don't know what's going down on Saturday, July 29. And we're taking it back to the basement at the Mid-East Club, 480 Mass Avenue, Cambridge. Ladies, it's a night for mesh marinas, fishnets, and pum-pum shots. I don't know, soundtrack provided by an all-female lineup. We're talking about DJ Slick Vic, DJ Lady Lee, DJ Light 2.0, and DJ Shasha. So you know the thing now go normal. I don't know, admission at $25. Get your tickets online at ticketweb.com. Doors open from 9 p.m. until 1 a.m. So watch it, man. Just forward out for a great night of reggae vibes. Done the right way. Flex.
JP Morgan Chase is making a global commitment to break down barriers to drive inclusive economic growth all over the world. We believe there is a pressing need to help more people move up the economic ladder. That is why we are investing in communities and people to create an economy that works for all, because no community should be left behind. Right here in Boston, we're focusing that work in Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan, among other neighborhoods, on improving financial health. These efforts aim to address the key drivers of the racial wealth divide head-on. We're here to empower individuals, families, and small businesses by connecting them to the tools that build generational wealth and a long-lasting legacy. Chase is investing in Boston. Chase is investing in you. Visit us at the Mattapan branch at 1617 Blue Hill Avenue, where the team is waiting to help.
The all-new Spark FM.
Them not like me, I mean not like them.
Spark FM.
Come on.
Spark FM.
Yo, chick a man be ballin'. These chicks pigeon toed. Some of them be crawling.
Spark FM.
Oh gosh, it's me again.
New England's #1 urban Caribbean music. Radio. Spark FM.
Free water, so what's that? I said, oh, crazy. Come. I'm about to take this boy to him. Whoa. White shiny, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Catch me on top of the foreign whipping, skirting, going, yeah. I need an ex boring man. She know I'm the coldest, yeah. Still gotta watch my back, I'm noited, steady looking over my shoulder. Baby, I know I'm Gucci. I told that nigga he need to come over. Racks on the dresser. I'm not your average finesse. Everybody know I'm pressure. I'ma on these bitch my pleasure. Ain't gon' be blocking my blessings. These hoes being blocking my message. In the booth, I ain't worried about texting. Good know they ain't on my level. I got hope, I ain't worried about niggas. I don't want no love. I walk in the spot getting love, duh. Everybody know what's up, duh. Everybody know I'm the one, duh. Be mad about a nigga. I don't want that nigga. I just want his funds, duh. No, I ain't cuffing that nigga. I'm that nigga, so watch how you come, duh. Celebrity status when I hit the city. You mad, you can't buzz in the city. Don't worry about who I in the city. You bitches get in the city. I'm booking shows, you don't know that I with the city. I'm running the city for show. You don't get slumped in my city, don't come to my city. You better be bringing a pole. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
You're listening to Spark FM. Online.
Spark FM Online, #1 for urban and Caribbean music. We are back, and we just finished talking to the Boston Transportation Department. Shout outs to you guys for sticking with us and answering your questions and getting out the hard things.
Yes.
I don't know if anything's gonna change, but we're gonna stay up to date with what's going on when it comes to Boston transportation.
But I mean, you know what? Things won't change if we don't get involved. So
Exactly.
that's what we have to do. We are providing information here for you. There is going to be this not so average town hall meeting happening tomorrow evening at the Franklin Park Golf Course. If you guys need something fun to entice you to come out, then you need to attend these things, and so we can make plans. We are the ones who are responsible for making changes
that's a
in
meeting,
our neighborhoods.
That's a meeting that's it's not a boring meeting. You're not sitting down. It's very interactive.
Yeah.
So please,
Let's do
I'm begging the community because I gotta beg y'all to come out.
Which is a damn
we got
shame.
to beg y'all to come out and show
It's
support.
gonna be food and a DJ. It's a party, y'all. It's not a meeting.
We gotta tell them they're getting paid too.
I know.
I remember when I first met with Consult Layla, I was just like, you guys have to figure out a way to make community engagement sexy. Because what's happening is that, like she said, nobody wants to sit on a Zoom Zoom meeting on
Right.
Tuesday and hang out.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I want to go. If I want to get involved, but I want you to make it, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I want you to make it worth my while to get involved. So feed me, give me a little drink. Some food.
Make me dance.
And then I will, I will interact
sense.
in this dancery.
It sounds like something I want to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna get into our local news. We are at about 10 minutes.
We haven't even gotten to the news.
Nothing. So we'll get into
that
our
conversation was just really so good, I think. So we're gonna get into the highlights, or we can just even read just the headlines.
This one was kind of fun though because of the fact that we've all probably experienced this is aggressive seagulls force Sullivan's Castle Island to suspend outside dining.
No way.
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
They're taking your hot dogs and your burgers and your fries, and if you don't give it to them, they're attacking you. So Sullivan's Castle Island in Southie is a staple of the summer for a hot dog or lobster roll on a sunny day and a double cheeseburger.
Yes.
I threw that in there.
And the raspberry lime Ricky. Throw that in there too.
But customers looking to sit and enjoy their food will have to find seats elsewhere. Caution tape now surrounds the outdoor seating, and signs sit on every table that warn beware of seagulls. The restaurant has a policy. If you get attacked by a seagull and they take your food, we will remake your order for free.
That is so nice.
We have a clip from the news.
Sullivan's Castle Island in Southie is the spot for a sunny day lobster roll or hot dog. And now it's a no-fly zone.
Yes, that is really crazy.
Beware seagulls, reads the sign. Tables for outdoor dining now wrapped in caution tape, unusable because of bold birds. The restaurant has a policy.
If you get attacked by a seagull and they take your food, we'll remake your order for free.
But this past weekend, it became too much.
They'll perch up on there, on those poles right there, right? And up on the roof, and then they're like fighter jets, like boom, boom, boom. They'll come in, they'll take all the old people's food, all the children's food. It's crazy. We actually had a customer this year end up getting a seagull in a headlock. And
my God.
flinging around with it. So yeah, it's been a crazy year.
I just think it's important that we try and get the other side. See what the seagulls have to say. How do you call a seagull? Excuse me? Seems like the gulls are too chicken to answer to the charges.
I've never lost my food to a seagull before.
Some customers say they've dodged the thieves.
Didn't see too many, but now and again, yeah. See a few, yeah.
I mean, a french fry is pretty easy to snag off someone's plate.
But even as we pulled into the lot, there they were, ripping apart the trash, searching for food.
It's like a turf war over here.
And Sullivan's is hopeful that after a week or so of taped off tables, customers will be able to sit outside again soon.
I mean, we came here second, I guess. This is their territory.
Terrible.
So,
That's
they're trying to take it back, clearly.
In South Boston,
How do you get a seagull into a
They gotta put up signs that say "Don't feed the birds."
Yeah.
But they're not feeding them. The seagulls are stealing the people's food.
They're attacking them.
Remember last year there was a picture of a girl. She was taking a picture of her lobster roll, and when she went to snap the picture, you just saw the seagull like grabbing it out of her hand, and that's the picture
You guys,
that she snapped.
it's never happened to you guys?
No, I mean we definitely are like get away. But like seagulls, I think are attracted to wherever it's wet, and it's been very rainy.
I had a whole slice of pizza taken out of my hand by
A whole slice of pizza?
either Nantasket Beach or Hampton Beach. One of those beaches, a whole.
I just feel like it's gateway to steal a baby.
When we were leaving Uvia on Sunday, there was a gang of seagulls, and we're like, what do y'all do? They were waiting for the food vendors. They were about to jump the food vendors.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Looked like vultures circling around.
Do they not choke on this food?
They got
cantaloupe.
They got like
How they not
5,000.
choking on the hot dog?
I think birds' stomachs are pretty like.
They probably like swallow the whole thing and then bring it back up for some reason. I don't know, some grossness. But I love Sullivan's, and I do get disturbed by the seagulls over there. That's awful.
Speaking of chickens, 16 people sickened in salmonella outbreak linked to ground beef. So all the burgers y'all are eating that the seagulls are taking have salmonella. More than a dozen people across 4 states have been sickened in a salmonella outbreak linked to ground beef. 16 people in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Massachusetts have been sickened in the outbreak. All of the people who remembered the type of ground beef they ate and where they bought it reported started eating 80% lean ground beef purchased from ShopRite locations in Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York prior to getting sick. We don't got that here, so I don't know where we was
where
getting
are they getting it from? Price Right?
Price Right. It's most likely Price Right. The number of illnesses in the outbreak is likely much higher as people tend to recover from salmonella illnesses within medical care and are not tested for the bacteria. Symptoms of salmonella infection, if you do feel like you have gotten poisoned by salmonella, includes fever, diarrhea, stomach cramps, and usually starts 6 hours or 6 days after swallowing the bacteria. 6 days?
Yeah.
I need to know if I got food poison immediately.
Exactly, because I don't remember what I ate 6 days ago.
Exactly. How do I know how to narrow it down to the specific salmonella that I have contracted?
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's weird.
That is very, very weird. So be careful of the beef that you eat right now. If you can do a little ground turkey, that might be a better, healthier option for you.
Relax off the red meat.
Yes.
Eat some nice chicken and greens.
Boston also declares a heat emergency.
Yeah.
Oh, joy. First of all, 82 feels like 102 in general already.
It was so hot this morning already. And so I can only imagine what it's going to feel like when the sun hits the middle of the sky.
This is so, y'all know this is random as hell, but do y'all realize that Twitter is now called X?
Yes.
Did y'all talk about that
Yes.
yesterday? Okay.
Yesterday and the day before.
This man is killing Twitter.
But
he wants to.
I still have the little bird here, though.
I keep on trying to upgrade mine to see that.
I'm not trying to update it.
I've updated
like
twice and it still gave me the bird, and I'm like, as soon as I see the X, I'm ending. It's over for me.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet, so I guess I could keep it.
Okay.
The city of Boston has declared a heat emergency for Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow and Friday, with temperatures likely to hit 90 degrees and heat index that could stretch into the mid 90s to 100. Inside I go. The city will open cooling centers throughout the city, including 15 at Boston Centers for Youth and Family, aka BCYF. Find a cooling center near you. There are many splash pads. There's about 64 of them, and some indoor pools that people can use. The city said that during the last summer's heat wave, Boston EMS experienced a 15 to 20% increase in 911 calls. We would know because we had a big festival in the middle of the heat wave, and we almost all died.
We didn't have any 911. We didn't have any emergencies. Though.
No, we didn't because we had enough water, ice, and cooling tents for everybody.
And we were under.
Yes, but it was definitely 98 degrees.
Oh yes, definitely. Yes.
So you guys find a cooling center, especially you guys that are on public transportation and going to different places. It's very important for you guys to stay as cool as possible.
Yes.
Malden man who tried to hire a hitman to kill his wife, probably on what? Hitman.com?
Yes,
is that
that's what it's called.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure why my first idea, if I wanted to kill somebody, would go on a website that is called hitman.com.
Well, as we were talking about earlier, you like websites that are easy to find.
Very true.
Yeah.
I would be the one.
So you would go to hitman.com.
Hitman.com. I mean, that's what the girl went to kill her 3-year-old.
Yes. Yes.
So, everybody just has to be a little bit more conscious of who you are, befriending or marrying, because they will put a hit on you.
Yeah, so this one has been sentenced to jail. He's going to go to jail for a long time. He tried to pay a $1,500 deposit for the murder. And he shopped on the clearance rack at that for the murder, which is ridiculous. So he's going to jail for a long time because he's a bad guy.
He should.
He's a bad guy.
Is it him?
But do we talk about the city council at the next
So,
one?
So the city council has been having quite a year.
I'm sorry, but haven't I been telling them? Haven't I been telling them if they're doing this to get their ducks in a row?
Yeah.
I mean, this is different.
Because this is what the city wants. This is literally what the city wants. For all you black people to get in power, get in position, and you F up, and they coming straight for your neck.
But this isn't an F up, though. This is silly to me. This one is very silly.
So, Councilor Tanya Hernandez,
Fernandez
Hernandez
supposed to be doing that, period.
I understand that, but I think that some rules are stupid.
Yeah.
And even though they're rules, I think they're stupid. So one of them, Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson will pay $5,000 fine after admitting to hiring her sister and son to full-time staff positions on the council.
Right.
The State Ethics Commission says those hires violate conflict of interest laws. Fernandez Anderson's named her sister as her director of constituent services shortly after winning election to council in 2021. Her salary was set at $65,000. It was raised to $70,000, and she was awarded a $7,000 bonus in June of 2022. The same month, Fernandez Anderson appointed her son as an office manager with a $52,000 salary. Weeks later, on July 15, she boosted her son's salary to $70,000.
Come on now.
She posted her son's. Oh.
Yeah. Come on now.
I'm gonna tell you something though. When you start making all the money or whatever it is, you better boost my
she was the
salary.
one that was one of the most outspoken in city council.
But not about that.
No, period.
I mean, it's not like she hired them to kill their wife.
My point is, you cannot be that outspoken and you're doing stuff that's going to come back to haunt you. Period.
I mean, that is true.
That is my
maybe
thing.
not necessarily in.
And they're all doing it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody in Boston City Council wants to be so outspoken, so for the people.
But you can't be in the city council and not be outspoken.
No, you can be. You can be in the city council, but you don't have to be outspoken. You could be. They're being outspoken. If you remember, back a couple of months ago, she was the one that was cussing inside the.
She's very passionate.
We get it. But you want to be that passionate? Make sure they have nothing to come back to you.
So, and then that's the small caveat of it.
I agree.
All of them.
You gotta have your license and your registration, and you gotta not hire your sister. And
maybe you shouldn't be so outspoken right now.
This is a privately owned company. I can do what I want.
I'm talking about the registration.
Oh,
maybe you should not speak.
Wait, where's the
Let me
thing?
think about it.
Erase that audio.
Let me take this one for you, sis.
Yes, go ahead.
Too soon. Anyway, Shanana, you got her. Next story.
So she is in trouble. She had to pay a $5,000 fine.
Yes.
She says that she didn't know, but she found out a while ago because she told us about it when we were here.
When she was here.
So she is taking accountability. She has paid her fine.
Yep.
And
did she have to fire them?
I believe she will.
I think you have to.
That's that's when I would be mad.
Yes.
Because how you gonna fire me? You better pay more fine.
You better give me my severance pay.
Severance pay.
And all of the things.
In other Massachusetts news, Aaron Hernandez's brother accused of planning university shootings.
Oh yeah.
We'll just
well,
let that one fall.
It's all relative.
I see what you did there. Unfortunately, this family has a history of violence.
Yes.
CTE.
Yeah, but he don't have CTE. He's just crazy.
Didn't he play football too?
They said he might have it too.
Yeah, I think he played like semi-pro.
So what was these two doing? Slamming their heads into walls all the time?
They were really good at football, and as a result of being really good at football, they succumbed to several injuries that caused them to be crazy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Dennis DJ Hernandez, the brother of deceased former New England Patriots Aaron Hernandez, has recently arrested in Connecticut after being accused of planning shootings at two prominent New England universities.
And I think he's been in the news before for doing crazy stuff.
And first of all, we take our universities very seriously here.
Mm-hmm.
We have two different ones in the building right now.
That's
and
right.
we protect them at all costs.
The brother of Aaron Hernandez
Shout
arrested,
out to the Women's
accused of planning.
Interdisciplinary Society of Entrepreneurship.
You did
who
good.
are here
Wise
in the building with us. Wise.
I'm so mad you remembered that whole thing.
I wrote it down. I mean, I'm smart.
They are doing a small tour of Spark FM today on entrepreneurship, and then we also have Chinanu here from BU. So we take our students seriously.
Yeah.
An incident report obtained by the Bristol Police Department on Tuesday indicates a 35-year-old woman contacted officers because of text messages that Hernandez, 37, had sent. And here's the clip.
A woman accuses Hernandez of traveling to the schools to map out the campuses. She also claimed his mental health is, quote, continuing to deteriorate. Hernandez is being held in Bristol, Connecticut on $250,000 bail.
Sorry for their parents.
Too. They are doing it. But in other really great Boston news, Jaylen Brown finally signs a Supermax Celtics deal, making him the richest deal in the NBA history.
And is that really great Boston news? Because I see a lot of people is like, that's too much.
So people are literally divided on this because I've seen the good and the bad.
Okay.
They're saying that he don't deserve it, but also people have noticed the effort and the passion that he's put into the community and to basketball in general. So Boston Jaylen Brown is now a very, very rich man. It took a little longer than anyone expected, but the swingman has agreed to a supermax contract extension with the Boston Celtics. The deal is worth $304 million over 5 years and won't kick in until after next season. Shams Charania reported the news, noting that there is a trade kicker that elevated the total value to $304 million. The deal also, these two people kissing on my screen, also does not have a player option. Brown has been eligible to sign the Supermax on July 1st, and the extended delay led to some outside speculation that some issues in the negotiation might have arisen. Through it all, reporters maintained that the deal would get done on Tuesday. It was finally completed, and now Brown is set to make $31.8 million for the 23-24 NBA season. But his annual salary under the Supermax will range between $52.3 million and almost $70 million in the final year of the deal.
All he needs to do is give Spark FM $1 million.
Do he got a girlfriend?
I don't know.
He do?
Probably several.
I don't know.
I'm okay with being another. In Somerville, polyamory is recognized. So I'm just saying, yes. So Somerville has passed an ordinance that polyamory relationships will be recognized in courts.
Yes.
You know, that's my religion.
Here we go. Now he moving to Somerville.
Now we're all so now we're all waiting to see what's going to happen to Tatum, if he is going to get one too, or if they're going to trade him off to somewhere else. I don't know if
it says he's eligible for his own Supermax from the Celtics next summer, but for now the Celtics had ensured that their two stars will be playing together for the foreseeable future.
Bronny James is doing well. We talked about LeBron James' son, Bronny, having a cardiac situation on the court the other day. He is doing really well right now.
Judge Mathis spit on a valet person.
Oh, Judge Mathis. See, this is what Tristan was just talking about. When you a judge and you're doing these kind of things, you can't be spitting on people because that's not okay.
He's accused of spitting on someone.
Judge Mathis is a nasty man.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say, that sounds on brand for Judge Mathis. Like,
man.
He calls people crackhead on a regular.
Yeah. Yes, he does. And he just seems like he does what he wants because, so that's not.
You know, if they can take away the judge from him, how they take away the judge?
They can't.
Judges can be impeached.
Him.
But he's a TV judge.
Clarence Thomas.
Him and Clarence Thomas.
Take that
because
judge, those
please.
are lifetime appointments.
Please.
Yes, that's a lifetime appointment.
Terrible. There's not a lot of entertainment news that we want to talk about. Unless you want to talk about Ice Spice.
Jamie Foxx.
So Jamie Foxx, yes, he is doing better. People think that he's a clone. He's not a clone.
Did you guys watch the movie? They cloned Tyrone.
Oh,
no.
I started that.
I'm going to watch it today. What is it?
Please watch it.
I started it today. The
over.
first round of it. Go sleep. Easy.
Really?
Because I was tired. And I was trying to watch it while I was sleeping, but the second time I tried to watch it again, and it was specifically more interesting, and I'm excited about finishing it.
Did you guys
it's a whole
watch
government
Don't Be
conspiracy.
Cruel?
No, what is
Don't
that?
Be Cruel. That was a black man that turned into the donkey.
Yes. It wasn't Don't Be Cruel.
What's the name of something like
that movie? Where they were working the people to death, and then when you looked at it, in the end they were like turning them into horses.
What's this called?
Something noise. Do not disturb. Something like that. It's with Lakeith.
Oh,
Lakeith. What's his name?
Lakeith Stanfield.
Oh, that's terrible. So after you worked me to
Sorry
death.
to bother you.
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry
That
to
was the
bother
name
you.
of it.
Yeah.
What year was this?
2018.
Oh, that's not too. Okay, I'm gonna watch both of them. Because they clone Tyrone is a conspiracy theory, sci-fi. It's all the things. It's all the things mixed up in one. I heard that Erykah Badu was a producer in it or something like that.
Call Tyrone.
Yeah, don't call. They cloned
A
Tyrone.
series of eerie events thrust an unlikely trio into the trial of a nefarious government conspiracy.
And it's funny. It's funny as hell. So yes.
There's also a new black thriller movie called The Blackening. And I heard that that's really funny, and I want to see that too.
It's like on to like those Scream parodies types of things, situations.
But I heard it's very, very good.
Me
as well.
too. I want to watch that.
All right.
With that said, people, we have.
I was gonna say Bobby Smurder is going on record saying that anyone over the age of 21 is too old to have ops.
No, that's when you start having ops in the first place. Yes.
Well, that we're gonna have to save that.
If you ain't, if you don't got no haters,
we gotta
you
do
ain't
that tomorrow.
popping.
We gotta do that one tomorrow.
Yes, put that back in the news. If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. And we don't got no haters, and we are popping, so that destroys that theory. But with that said, we are going to slide on over to the side, and we've got to leave up out of here because we got to talk to our good friends over at Northeastern, and we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. I do believe that we have Liz Miranda coming in on Friday, Senator Liz Miranda coming in on Friday, so we have a full action-packed week for you guys of lots of things to do.
Yes,
Remember
and NAACP.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
NAACP convention starts this week.
Today.
Yeah. Yep. Today. We're gonna be over at the Hub on Friday, so come on down. It's free. DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ Y Sham, Spark FM, and a lot of other people will be there. Meek Mill's gonna be in here. Kamala, all kinds of people.
Robert Kraft.
Everybody. I'm
Yes.
gonna go outside and beg for some money.
Oh, this is a
for
nice
my business.
dress up week.
It is, and I got lots of dresses.
Yes.
I have one on right now.
All right.
With that said, people, we got to slide on over to the side. Thank you for joining us. Spark FM Online, #1 for urban and Caribbean music. Saucy and Friends in the morning.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to Saucy and Friends in the morning with Miss Hot Sauce, Miss Tony, and Rockstone Triz.
Turn it on. Turn it up.
This is SparkFMOnline.com.
Hey yo, Spark FM Online and Lifted Smoking Goods present the ultimate rubber-dub, dancehall, reggae bashment. I don't know what's going down on Saturday, July 29. And we're taking it back to the basement at the Mideast Club, 480 Moss Avenue, Cambridge. Ladies, it's a night for mesh marinas, fishnets, and pum-pum shots. I don't know a soundtrack provided by an all-female lineup. We're talking about DJ Slick Vic, DJ Lady Lee, DJ Light 2.0, and DJ Shasha. So you know the thing now go normal. I don't know admission at $25. Get your tickets online at ticketweb.com. Doors open from 9 p.m. until 1 a.m. So watch it, man. Just forward out for a great night of reggae vibes. Done the right way. Flex.
SI Promotions USA alongside Specialists and Friends presents Ecstasy. Ecstasy, a summer chic affair where the music seduces your mind, body, and soul. Ecstasy. On Sunday, July 30th from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Mojito's Country Club, 44 Mosaic Drive, Randolph, Massachusetts, 02368.
Yeah, cause girls is players too.
Featuring Steely Bashment from NYC, Freeze International from NYC, Sound Inc. Family, Ghetto Hype, and Cypress. Hosted by Specialist, FC, and Trickstar.
Say you're bad from which part? The luck the winner one lip that.
Your ticket locations: TNE Mini Mart, Tasha Michelle's Closet, 1775 Dorchester Avenue, Boston, Mass. 02124. Get your tickets online at ecstasy.frontlineticketing.com.
I'm not going no smaller threat. Let me extend my apology.
Ecstasy, a summer chic affair.
Did you know that you can now get a standard Massachusetts driver's license regardless of your immigration status? To get help with your application, a list of all required documents, and nearby appointment scheduling, visit mass.gov/WFMA. Your license is your way forward, so why not get started today? Register now at mass.gov/WFMA or call 857-368-WFMA.
The NAACP convention is coming to Boston, July 26th to August 1st. We invite you to join us as we welcome thousands of civil and human rights leaders from across the country to our great city of Boston. We need 1,500 volunteers to come support the NAACP Boston Community Day Action and Service on July 22nd. Be a greeter who welcomes conventioneers at the Logan Airport or the BCEC Convention Hall, or help with registration and the other program and events. To sign up, go to www.naacpboston.org to register as a volunteer. With Boston NAACP, we continue thriving together. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
JP Morgan Chase is making a global commitment to break down barriers to drive inclusive economic growth all over the world. We believe there is a pressing need to help more people move up the economic ladder. That is why we are investing in communities and people to create an economy that works for all, because no community should be left behind. Right here in Boston, we're focusing that work in Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan, among other neighborhoods, on improving financial health. These efforts aim to address the key drivers of the racial wealth divide head on. We're here to empower individuals, families, and small businesses by connecting them to the tools that build generational wealth and a long-lasting legacy. Chase is investing in Boston. Chase is investing in you. Visit us at the Mattapan branch at 1617 Blue Hill Avenue, where the team is waiting to help.
Attention, gentlemen. Are you looking for a suit that will make you look sharp and feel confident? Look no further than Allen's Formal Wear, a Boston legacy business. Our expert staff will help you find the perfect suit for any occasion. With a wide selection of colors, styles, and sizes, we have something for everyone. And the best part, our affordable prices won't break the bank. So why settle for a mediocre suit when you can stand out in Allen's Formal Wear? Visit us today at 594 Blue Hill Ave, Dorchester, or allensformalwear.com to book an appointment. Visit us today at 594 Blue Hill Ave, Dorchester, or Allens, ALLANS, formalwear.com to book an appointment. Allen's Formal Wear. We are dressing you for success.
The all-new Spark FM.
Them no like me, I mean I like them.
Spark FM.
Come on. Hot, sicker than your average.
Spark FM.
Y'all, sugar man be ballin'. Big chicks pigeon toed. Some of them be crawling.
Spark FM.
Oh gosh, it's me again.
New England's #1 urban Caribbean music. Radio. Spark FM.